Okay, I think we're on. All right, let's get this started. Welcome to Katana Care and Maintenance Part 2, Take 3. Apparently, when I uploaded it the first time, all it was a picture. I redid it, and then the next time it was just really crappy. So, today we're going to talk about how to take apart and reassemble the katana. I'm just going to get right down to it. I'm not really in the mood for this the fourth time, but here we are. Um, okay, so I've already taken one of the pins out of here, and I have this one ready to go. So there's a certain method that you're supposed to use, the prescribed method of katana disassembly, and that is to remove your pins, um, and then you hold. So I can get this right here. You're going to hold the katana at an angle backwards, about a 45-degree angle. You're going to strike on the back of your hand right here, and that's going to drive the Edo down, pop this up. Bada bing, bada boom, your katana is ready to be cleaned. So, now you can't hold it straight up, but physics kind of work against you. When you do that, you're going to be striking your hand sideways, so you're not going to really be forcing that downward as much as you are sideways. It will work, but basically you're cutting the effectiveness of this strike on your hand probably by at least 20 or 30%. So hold it backwards, and then you're going to strike like this, and your strike is in the same direction as your hand. So that's all there is to it. You're just going to do one firm blow, and see how that popped out like that? Now, that is how you take apart a katana. Ta-da! Grab my seppa here. All right, so when you take apart your katana, one of the first things you should do is inspect your ito. That's how you find things like this. I don't know if we can see this on camera, but let me squeeze this, and you can see where the glue, if there ever was any, has come apart. This isn't a big deal. I'm not going to fix it today. We'll fix it probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 videos from now. So, to put your katana back together, you're going to slide your handle back on, give it a firm strike on the base, maybe 2, 3, whatever, and then you should be able to replace your pins. And by now you probably caught on that you should be able to replace your pins by hand, but not take them out by hand. So there we go. That is the prescribed method. Everything's tight. Everything looks good. And now I've got to do that because I was banging it against my table. All right, so easy peasy Japanesey. This does not always work. Okay? Now, the other day, I saw a video of a pretty well-known YouTube reviewer who was having trouble taking apart his katana, and he hemmed and he hawed, and he was trying to pull the blade out like this, and really trying to force it. Let me take this pin out. If nothing else, the fact that I've done this, 3 times already, I've known what to prep for. So he's pulling and yanking, and it won't come out. There's an easier way. Now this one is really tight. I could not pull this off if I tried, which is going to lead to a little bit of a conversation here in a second. But there's a really easy way to take care of this, and that is to hold your katana like this. In this case, straight up and down is a good thing. And what you're going to do is take a small block of wood and just hold it up against there. You'll have to figure out how to do it. I'm just wrapping my fingers around and holding it with my index finger and my thumb. Then you're going to take ye handy dandy old hammer. Doesn't have to be this big, but I do recommend something hard instead of a rubber mallet or like something you might use for leather work. All right, now what we're going to do is just strike down, being very careful not to hit the blade. And you'll probably need to do this 2 or 3 times. Okay. And you can see where the blade's coming up, but this one is extremely tight, so we're going to have to do this a couple more times. And a couple more times. There we go. That'll save you a lot of aggravation. All right, now the reason I wanted to look at this, let's show you something very important. This is another problem with made in China, cheap 1045 katanas. I have the same issue here, and you can probably see it a little better. Well, maybe not. There we go. Where there's a giant gap where this has come apart. Now, as tight as that was, that can only mean that this katana tang was so tight in here that it literally busts whatever glue was holding it together. This is a bad thing, though, because, and I want to show you why. In this case, there's a lot of room in here. Okay, I mean, this little knife that came with my sword, I can fit the entire width of that in here. So that's a pretty significant separation. Well, keep in mind that the way a katana handle is made, it's done in layers. So you have the wooden part, which should be glued together, and then you have the little decorative ray skin. Really good katanas then have a layer of little pieces of folded paper on the corners to help smooth it out. This is a kind of a cheap piece of shit, and it doesn't have that. So that means the only other layer you've got on this is the cloth binding, the cloth wrap. And that cloth wrap is kind of intended to hold that all together. So if that's separating, that means that it's also pushing apart your cloth wrap. So this is not something you want to ignore for very long. I don't have any wood glue, or I would just do it today, but you know, we're going to have a section on talking about some fixing tsukas, so we'll discuss that, I guess, then. So there you go. That's the easy way to take apart a katana if it doesn't want to come apart. But then you got to get the damn thing back together, and that's a little bit different because, well, no matter how hard I push, that's all I'm going in. Just that far. So there's clearly a lot of play there. Which means that I'm going to figure something else out. Now there's a couple things you can do. One, you can hit the bottom again like you did on the one that fits properly. If you do that, you're going to hurt your hand. You're going to have to hit it so hard, you're just going to be driving that thing up with the force of the palm of your hand. And unless you are like a kung fu fucking god, you're really going to hurt yourself. Now you can try holding a rag up there, and this isn't any better because you have less of a purchase on your blade. You can try taking your piece of cloth, like a wash rag or a towel or something, and dropping it and let gravity do the work for you. I don't recommend that either. The one thing I do recommend, and this is pretty simple, use a hard hammer to take it off, use a softer hammer to put it on. So if you have a rubber mallet, then that was the easy way to do this. And you don't need to hit it hard, just tap and tap and tap until you're there. All right, so we are there. No rattle. Sounds good. There's no tinkly, clinkly crap. So from there, we'll check and see if we're in the right position to put our pegs in. Suck about something here. Oh, there we go. Not quite there. Okay, that one's not going to go in. I wonder if I got them the wrong peg in the wrong hole. Yeah, that's what it did. Because this went in way too easy. Back this one out. Oh, the joys of sword ownership. Alright. Oh yeah, that went in perfect. And this one ought to go in perfect as well. Which of course it doesn't. Let's turn it around. Bada bing. This is why I say you want to try and do this in one direction. And that way it'll be a lot easier for you. So there you have it. That's how you take apart a katana that doesn't want to be taken apart. Now this particular katana does not have a hand guard. It doesn't have a tsuba. If you have one with a tsuba, it makes it a little bit more difficult because you're going to have to hold your wooden block on top of the tsuba. And probably the best way to do that will be just hold it against your thumb. And then when you hit it, make sure you don't miss, because that's going to really hurt if you do. So there you go. Disassembly and reassembly of a katana. And hopefully this video will turn out right. And, you know, I won't have to do this again. But if I do, it will probably make more sense again. Better than it did now. So I'm sensing a little progression here, so I really don't want to have to do every video over and over and over again to get it right. So hopefully this will be some lessons learned going forward. Thank you again for hanging in there with me, and I will see you probably in a couple of days. I have a strange work schedule before I can do the next video, and I've already decided on that one that I really need to pay attention to what I need to say and not just ramble on incessantly. So we're going to try that, and we'll see you then.